So, I'd like to wait for people to get in here, but I really don't want to because whoever's meant to see it will, if that's even whatever. But also, I don't really want to wait. Hi, happy Saturday. So I wanted to mention something about cleansing the liver, because I feel like I keep getting these signs and messages and all, and I wanted to share some things that kind of clicked today, and some things that kind of led up to those things clicking. And so anyhow, liver cleanup. So we are in Aquarius season. So years ago, so I grew up in church. I grew up in a Baptist church. When I went to college, I went to a Kojic church, which I didn't really realize many differences between them, except like people would go up to the front and get prayed over and like fall and stuff like that. And I had kind of seen that, not in my church growing up at all, but we would have altar prayer or altar call. But I don't want to get off on a tangent. As I got older, I went to different churches, not even different churches, like just started to learn a bunch of different things. And one of my favorite classes ever, it was anthropology, because I like to learn about different cultures and different people and different ways of living and existing. When I was a teenager, there was a show on MTV, and sometimes I can go off on a tangent. It just is what it is. But I think it was on MTV, I want to say, there was some show, don't know the name of it, and they would take kids, privileged kids or whatever, and their parents might have been teaching them a lesson, or maybe they wanted to do it, but I feel like it was their parents or somebody kind of teaching them a lesson. But they would go to some third world country and, have to walk miles to get water and come back and be like, oh wow, or would just be a brat the whole time. It just depends. Anyhow, and learning about different cultures and different people and different ways of doing things, and especially paying attention to what feels right for you, is so important. And in church growing up, I always was told to learn and know God for myself. And when I was younger, I interpreted that as going to church, being a good Samaritan, as far as being a good Christian. But as far as knowing God for myself, I thought it meant more like going to church consistently and knowing Bible scriptures. I thought that people that knew a bunch of Bible scriptures and could throw a bunch of scriptures at you were people that were just like, oh, they're doing it right, they know what they're doing. For the most part, you would see how people would act too, but for the most part, it's like, okay. Anyhow, there was a time I went to a cosmic church or something like that, astrology church, and I learned about a bunch of different things. And at that time, I started to learn more about the body and astrology's relationship to the body, or what people would call astrology or the zodiac or what have you. So when I was born in Virgo. The sun was in Virgo. And so I'm not going to go down my whole chart and all those things, but the sun was in Virgo. So usually when people say their sign, they're talking about their sun sign. And so the sun was in Virgo. My son's sign is in Virgo. And so Virgo, a lot of times people talk a lot of trash about Virgos, that we can be very analytical and critical. We like, perfection is a huge thing and all those kinds of things. But in learning over time, and I picked up one of these books today, but in learning over time, I learned about cell salts years ago. But in astrology church, this was maybe like 2014, 2015 or something. And we learned about different colors and just so many different things. I actually had a book, and I don't know who I let borrow it, but it was a book called, what is it? I can see the cover in my mind. It's a black cover. Anyhow, it's a really, really good book, and I actually want to get it again. Anyhow, we're in Aquarius season, because Lord knows I can go off on a tangent and then a tangent for that one. We're in Aquarius season. And so Aquarius has connections to Saturn, which a color for that, like that energy, whatever, is black. And so we're in a new moon. There was just a new moon on yesterday. And so new moons are all about planting seeds. In the Bible, we talk about having the faith the size of a mustard seed. I was listening to something earlier in the week, and it's like animals don't, unlike a farmer, I forget who I was watching. Dang, who was this? It just said this. This may have been Dr. B. This may have been Dr. B serious, but somebody was saying that you don't hear about nomadic farmers. Nobody hears about that because you have to stay there. You have to, at a time, patterns had to be studied. You really had to be present in the moment and study, because it's what's happening right now in this cycle. I'm going somewhere with this, in this cycle. And so But birds and animals, they rely on God. It's just what do you call that? Not intuitive, but an internal knowing that this is what I do, this is what comes, this is the natural order, the natural law of all things. And so us as people, sometimes it's like, no, I have to be able to control this, govern this, what have you. I don't want to get off on a tangent, so let me go back. We are in Aquarius season, and like Virgo, like I said, that's what I first started to learn about, because that's, of course, what I knew most of. And so Virgo rules the digestive system in the body. What happens when you consume something? Now I'm talking about biologically, but when you consume something energetically, when you consume something spiritually, when you consume something mentally, when you consume something edibly, when you consume something, using your auditory, all these things, or visually, when you consume something, what happens? So in just think about that, but for this example, think about consuming something edibly. When you eat something, what does your body do? Virgo rules the digestive system of the body, and what does the body then do? Start to break it down. Now, that's where fasting comes in, which I won't get off on that tangent because I've talked enough about fasting on here, and I don't want to go off, but with fasting, you're giving your body a break from all that intake. Because just think, if one thing I'm learning in this season about the type of friend I am and the type of person I am, I don't feel like I'm going to talk to you every day. I just don't think I'm that person. I've tried to be that person, and that had a lot of trauma, wrapped up in it. Like, if I'm not here, I'm not a good whatever, or all these things. And it's like, especially when you become an adult, you just don't have a whole lot of time all the time. You have your own life going on. You have work. You may have kids. You may have, your dreams. You may have so many things going on. And that's one thing I had to learn over time. But anyhow, Virgo rules the digestive system of the body. So when you eat something, when you consume something, it starts to figure out, okay, what needs to be excrement and what is nutritious for the body that I can then take around and do what we have to do for the body, And so that's Virgo. Well, we are in Aquarius season. And Aquarius, I've just found out today, literally, and I might have known this before, but I was researching some today, so maybe it just came back to my mind. But I kept feeling like, okay, my liver, because I was looking about skin. And so skin health and things like that. And so I just came off of a fast, like maybe a week ago. I did a 7-day fruit and veggie fast. And so I was feeling like, okay, I want to prolong this. So like for maybe 3 more days I did it. And then after I kind of just went back to some old habits and things like that. Sometimes you can know what to do, but you still don't do what you know to do in whatever area of life, which is why judging people is whatever. So anyhow, we're in Aquarius season. And Aquarius, I learned, rules the circulatory system. What constantly circulates around the body? The blood. Sometimes you get into life, you're in life and you realize, why am I just going through all these cycles? You need to cleanse. Cleansing can be building awareness about something. It doesn't just have to be eating and, all those things. But cleansing can be building awareness about something, because some people misinterpret Aquarius and they think that, and maybe, people always say Aquariuses are so misunderstood. And I just thought about that. Even how people conceive the sign Aquarius and what they think it is. People a lot of times think Aquarius is a water sign. Aquarius is not a water sign, it's an air sign. And so air, rules thought, and air rules thought. And so a lot of times people think it's a water sign because the waves, that are in the symbol. But if you also look, it's a water bearer. Aquarius is the sign of the water bearer. And what's happening? That water is being poured out. You have to cleanse the blood. That's really very important. Sometimes, I've said before, like sometimes you think you're in a bad mood, sometimes you think you're stressed and depressed, and all those things, and you very well may be. But oftentimes, more often than not, it's because of what we're consuming, and it doesn't just have to be edibly. It could be, if you're always listening to gossip, if you're always spewing gossip, if you're always watching shows that are just drama, or people just being mean and vicious towards each other, or maybe you're stuck in that cycle because maybe somebody was mean and vicious towards you, so then you start to create this whole thing in your mind that's like, oh, if it's not one thing, it's another. This always happens to me. You stay stuck in victimhood. So what do? You continuously play those cycles. Think about when you have a movie. I've been seeing life as a movie lately, or a screen, even more so lately, because that's something I thought about before. But think about when you write a movie, you write a script. What do you start to do? You start to cast. You cast that out. You broadcast that out. If that's the frequency that you're vibrating on, then you're broadcasting that. So whatever is in alignment with that frequency, that's what you're tuning into. Literally, what you watch on TV, you're tuning into it. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, we're in Aquarius season, and Aquarius rules. And some people get caught up in, oh, this is whatever, and this is that. That's what I thought too for some time, until I started to really study to understand, study to show thyself approved. And so, in doing that, Aquarius rules the circulatory system. It is time for myself and perhaps others, which is why I'm sharing this, because sometimes I don't even share all like this. I might share it to friends or people or whatever, but I know that there's such a stigma around things sometimes because I thought a lot of those same things. But Aquarius rules the circulatory system in the body. What circulates is the blood. It is really a really great time to cleanse the blood, you know, in preparation for whatever it might be, because we just had a new moon in Aquarius. And if I'm not mistaken, when the full moon comes, it'll be in Pisces season. So if I'm not mistaken, then you have to look at its polar opposite, which is in Virgo. And so, again, Virgo, what you're eating, the gut, cleaning your gut as well, you know. But in this book right here, I just wanted to read a few things, and then I think that's kind of going to be it, because I was reading one thing, and then something else ended up catching my eye, and I wanted to share. And so, let's see. Darn, I just had it. Oh, look. So in the human body, this has reference to... Okay, then it makes me want to go up, because then after Aquarius is Pisces, you know, the sun, you know, when you think about... Okay, I won't go off on that tangent, because then I'm going to go grab another book, and I didn't even plan on doing all of this, because who would have thought? But we are here. Oh, and it's funny too, because when you look at it, an Aquarius, Meg Thee Stallion just came out with a song called His, and it's like the serpent and all that. That's what just made me think about this. I just randomly turned to this page. I'm so that person. I really like to learn. Like I always was a kid. I loved school. I loved to learn. And in being outside of school, I learned way more on my own and study again to show myself approved. But this says, the positive interpretation of serpent is wisdom, therefore mental light, the light of intelligence. Aquarius, hello. How many students? Okay, I didn't read all this, so I guess I won't read it out loud. But there was one more part. I don't know how to pronounce that. Natrium myrrh is the cell salt, though, for Aquarius. It says a combination of sodium and chlorine forms the mineral known as common salt. This mineral absorbs water. The circulation or distribution of water in the human organism is due to the chemical action of the molecules of sodium chloride. It is the power to attract water, therefore actually to draw it to itself, to become one with. This is true of the spirit, the light within the darkness of human ignorance. As long as the spirit remains in the body, it is a candle shrouded in darkness, but it eventually draws to itself, if allowed to do so, the materials within which to make a light. Emphasis then must be placed on the power of attraction which this salt possesses. Aquarius season, sometimes you can attract a lot of stuff, like a lot of hellish stuff, you know, a lot of hellish experiences and things like that. But again, it's based on what you believe, because the power of, the size of a mustard seed, if you have that belief, you know, so that's how my brain works. That's how I cycle through things, and things literally all just came today, like of things that have been coming through. Because the other day I bought grapefruits, large grapefruits. I probably have only ever bought a grapefruit maybe one time. Okay. Maybe. Because I wasn't a big citrus person. Well, at least for oranges and stuff. I used to not be able to stand the smell of oranges. But faith of a mustard seed exactly can move a mountain. But the other day I bought some grapefruits. And so again, timing and alignment. Earlier in the week, I bought the grapefruits. The other day, I was looking up like juicing and things, because I had been juicing celery daily before anything was put on my stomach, you know, starting out with celery juice. And I did it consistently for 3 days. I just ran out of celery, and I had already gotten some more that second time, and I just hadn't went back. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start juicing other things. And then bam, something came up the other day, and it's so funny because as soon as it pulls up, darn, is that? I should have just looked at the. So the other day, I won't belabor the point, but the other day I was looking like up different juices for different things, and where is this one at? What one did I go to? Liver health, because again I was thinking about the skin. Liver health. And what is in I'm trying to make it, but I gotta scroll to it. Oh, that's funny. Done. Oh, here we go. Nope. Oh, no. That's ball. Where did it go? So one of the juices that I'm making in support of liver health is with grapefruit. And I literally bought grapefruit earlier in the week, and I never buy grapefruit, but I just felt led to buy grapefruit. And so 2 large grapefruit, a lime, and a piece of ginger. So I always have lime and ginger, but I don't think I have a actual lime. I think I may only have lime juice, but I know I have ginger. And so yeah, that's